しく燃えるバトルピンチはチャンスだぜ行こうぜ起死回生絶対に諦めない俺たちは諦めない
What is going on, everyone? It's Blazik67 here. Welcome back to another episode of 9 persons, 9 hours, and 9 doors. So let's go ahead and get this episode of 999 started, shall we? So before we start this episode off, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below to join the Ultimates. Become one of my Ultimates, please, and thank you. Now let's go ahead and get back into this glorious game, shall we? So, the space they found themselves in outside of the wheelhouse was far too narrow to be called a hallway. On their left was a wooden door. Junpei pushed it open and stepped into the room beyond. It was full of all manner of turn-of-the-century electronic equipment. Most of them were things they'd never seen before. They had no idea what they might have been for, let alone how to operate them. One smaller machine had a metal bar that ended in a circular handle. Ace seemed to recognize it.
Ah, yes. A telegraph key. These were used to transmit Morse code a long time ago.
He turned and slowly took in the room.
This must be the communication office.
Across the room from the door they'd entered through was another door. A metal plaque was nailed to it. It read, "Captain's Quarters." The captain's quarters?
That's what it says.
Then, do you think...
Is this where Zero? Oh, is this where he was basically telling us the announcement? Uh-oh. Look at Ace. He's like, oh shit. Ace swallowed. Junpei could feel his hands begin to sweat. Only Clover seemed unaffected.
Well, we won't know if we don't open it.
She walked up to the door and put her hand on the knob. Wait, don't open it! It opened easily, and without so much as a pause, she walked in. Junpei and Ace followed. The first thing they saw... Holy shit! Oh! 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 Who was that? It was a man on the floor, covered in blood. Wham! Where's the MGS sound when you need it? Junpei felt his body seize up. His mouth went dry, and he felt very, very cold. The blood in his veins slowed to a crawl, and his heart tightened like a fist. This was the third time he'd seen the horror of death laid out before him. This is the first time they showed the body! He didn't think it was something he could stand and see much more of. Still, he had begun to accept that whatever it was that he saw, whatever happened to him, was beyond his control. And whatever force controlled him was driven by a determination that he could not hope to match. My gosh. You know what? A twist for this game would just be like if Junpei turned out to be the one that was Zero. That would be crazy. A sense of helplessness, of desperation washed over him. He left behind a feeling of utter emptiness that wormed its way through his body like acid. Then he realized they had yet to check the man's pulse. Perhaps he was still alive. Filled by that spark of hope, Junpei ran to the man's body, and his heart fell. Oh shit! Yo, that dude's face is fucked up! His fingers on the man's neck felt no pulse. His pupils had dilated, and he wasn't breathing at all. Junpei lifted the man's already stiff body. There was a deep, red wound on his chest. Junpei did not have to wonder long at what could have made such a wound. Oh! This man got stabbed with an axe? Yo, that person was like, I'm about to play this game Firewatch real quick, and grabbed the axe and stabbed this fool. For lying next to the corpse was an axe. The entire blade of it was drenched in bright red blood. From the shape of the man's wound, there could be no doubt that it had been made by the axe. Junpei looked at the body again. Shit. A lake of blood stretched out around it. He was wearing the clothes of a ship's captain, although they were stained with blood. Hey, can one of you guys help me?
I'm just gonna leave.
I don't like dead bodies.
I can just imagine them saying that and just like walking away, leaving Junpei there. A captain. Did that mean that this man was Zero? On his left hand was a bracelet. The number on the bracelet was 0. It was only then when Junpei noticed the stench of blood that filled the room. No, that's too easy. That's too easy. This can't be Zero. He couldn't help but laugh. Oh, so is this like Danganronpa where there's like that secret Zero character, like that secret extra character that we're just now gonna see? You know what I mean? Like Makuro Ikitsaba. Yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. There was nothing else for him to say. It was too simple, too obvious, too straightforward. If there hadn't been a dead man on the floor, Junpei might have thought it a joke. And you already know we gotta have the sequence. Sequence. Hey, that is the best sequence in any game ever created. All right, let's look around this captain's quarter. What the hell? What's this music change? Like all of a sudden, happy music? Okay. There's a camera here.
A camcorder.
It looks like it's pointed at the door.
Well, the power's on.
How would someone want to videotape a door? Oh no. I think this kind of camera records to a hard drive. But it doesn't look like this one's recording anything.
What do you mean?
It's just sending whatever it sees to something, somewhere.
What does it see?
The door? The door. That's all it sees is the door. What is this? So this is the exit, huh? Don't even really have to try this door to know that it's locked. I knew it. Why did you try it anyway? God dang it. Junpei, why?
There's blood on the chair. Do you think this was the dead guys?
Yeah, probably. I don't want to think about it, really. There's blood on the chair. Kind of creeping me out. That's gross. What's this over here? The hell is this? A music box. Ooh, let's examine it. Search. Oh, it's one of those old music boxes. How about we wind it up? What the hell?
Why does it sound like that? Is it broken?
The pins on the cylinder are shaped all weird.
I don't think those are the pins. It looks like someone put something else on top of it. I think we're gonna have to take it apart to figure out what's going on. Don't you?
Well, I don't have anything to take it apart. Clover, thank you.
It's a lamp, but it doesn't turn on. I don't think there's anything special about it.
Alright, just making sure. You can never be too sure.
A bed. There's nothing in it.
Can I, like, turn around? Oh, yeah, I can. Security cameras? This one shows the central staircase on C deck. What's this one show? I don't recognize the room on this one. The room on this screen looks really fancy. This screen shows what's going on in a small room somewhere that I don't recognize. Are these some of the rooms that this screen shows the big hospital room. Are these the rooms that we had to do puzzles in? There's just some random hallway on this one. Well, what the freak? Can I open this? Ah, what's this? What's the deal with this? Is it some kind of code? There are 4 rows of numbers and letters. They all start with a 0 and end with 8. F, H, or V, respectively. Maybe this has something to do with number bases. Number bases? Number 2 has been added to the file screen. I don't know much about number bases. I'll tell you that. Is that all this room consists of?
A chair.
Like for real? There's a bunch of weird buttons on here. Probably switch what you see on the screens.
Do you know how to work this thing?
Why don't we just press one of these? Like this one. Well, I guess it does change the... What the hell is this? Oh my god, it all says 0. Heh. Junpei snorted with grim humor for the second time since he'd come into the room. The 4 screens along the bottom had a single letter each, spelling out the name 0. Junpei felt as though he was being mocked. The real villain was somewhere, laughing at him. What do you think? He turned to Clover, who was standing next to him. Her voice was almost too low to hear.
Nothing.
It seemed that she cared about little. Of course, Junpei could hardly blame her. Given the strain she was surely under, Junpei was somewhat surprised she had responded at all. Still, he had to ask. He gestured toward the corpse. What about him? Do you think that's really 0? Clover shook her head weakly.
There's no way that's him. Didn't I tell you already? Zero is one of us.
Yeah, right. Well, even if he wasn't one of us, there's no way that man could be Zero.
Huh?
Don't you get it? The letter that spells Zero on the TV screen. The captain's clothes he got on. And, of course, the bracelet with a 0 on it. It's too obvious. Look! This is Zero right here! This dead body is Zero! Doesn't that seem kind of funny to you?
You're right. Only an idiot wouldn't see if there's something like that.
No, that's not the point. I'm not trying to make fun of them for thinking a trick like this would work. I'm sure they didn't think it would work. Which makes me wonder, why did they do it? I think this is a challenge. A challenge from the person who's really behind all of this. He's making fun of us.
What?
Don't you get it? If whoever killed this guy really wanted us to think this corpse was Zero, they'd never have put a bracelet on him. Walking about with a 0 bracelet would be like hanging a sign around your neck that said, I did it. Anyone with a brain would be able to see that this guy is supposed to look like everything Zero is supposed to be. Just like we did.
Huh?
The killer must have known we wouldn't think he was Zero. Put the bracelet on him. Anyway, do you know why?
Why?
Like I said, he's mocking us. Too bad, suckers. This isn't Zero. It's the same bad joke a lot of criminals like to play. They'll just sit back and watch people run in circles. Look, here I am. What's wrong, guys? Come on, catch me if you can.
That's really twisted. But it almost seems kind of childish.
Yeah, you're right. It's really childish. It's like it's just a game to whoever this person is. That's what seems funny to me. Junpei bent down next to the corpse. Alright, let's get back to the point. Who killed this man?
I don't know.
And what's this guy's deal? Who is he?
How could I know that? If I knew anything, I would have told you.
You have no idea who he is?
Why would I?
Junpei sat back on his haunches and thought, we should check and see if he's got anything on him that might tell us who he is. Give me a hand here, Clover.
What?
We've got to flip him over. How else are we going to search his pockets? Clover didn't move. Junpei had no choice but to move the body on his own. He grabbed hold of an area not completely covered in blood and shoved. It took a moment, but eventually Junpei felt the man's bulk begin to shift. But just as it did, something fell from the man's left wrist. The bracelet. The bracelet with 0 on the face. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1, you escape from the ship. 2, your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or detects that its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. And that's what his did. Junpei stared at the bracelet. This man, he's dead, isn't he?
Huh?
No, it's just, I guess I didn't really think about it until right now. If his bracelet's off, that means he's dead.
Well, it's pretty obvious that he's dead. You don't really need to look at his bracelet to figure out that he's dead.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It is pretty obvious. He looks a lot better than the other bodies we've seen, though. You know? I mean, if there wasn't all this blood, he'd almost look like he was still alive.
What?
I mean, it's kind of messed up. I know it's kind of a messed up thing to say, but he kind of has it better, you know? Dying from a bomb going off inside you? I mean, that's just... Some of Snake's bones went right through his skin. I think the explosion must have thrown him against the wall or something. There's a broken bone just sticking out of his left arm. Suddenly, Junpei realized what he was saying. How could he have been so cruel? He clapped his hands over his mouth. But it was already too late. He turned to look at Clover. She was glaring at him fiercely.
What did you just say?
Her words sounded cold. He knew an apology could hardly atone for what he'd done, but he tried anyway. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I really don't know what I was thinking. I mean,
No! That's not what I'm talking about. What did you say about his arm?
arm?
Yes, his left arm. You said it, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I did, but I mean, didn't you see it too?
Of course not. I could barely look at him.
Clover took a quick, deep breath.
Are you sure it was his left arm?
Junpei thought back. Oh, I don't want to see that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
And he had a broken bone, right?
What the hell are you getting at here?
Just shut up and answer me.
She shoved her face closer to his. He could see the fire in her eyes. Junpei winced and swallowed. Yeah, I did. He did. It was pretty bad, too. The bone was sticking out of the arm. No sooner were the words out of his mouth than Clover's expression changed. Suddenly, she was crying. Junpei wasn't sure what to do.
Thank you.
It was close to the last thing he had expected to hear. Junpei had no idea what had just happened. He didn't think he'd done anything worthy of thanks, and he couldn't understand why she would have chosen that moment to begin crying. So he simply stood there, confused.
Thank you, Junpei.
She thanked him again, and then something even stranger happened. Oh, Clover! Clover threw herself into Junpei's surprised arms. Hey, what's going on with you?
I'm sorry. I'm so happy.
Why?
The body in the shower room. It isn't his. It isn't my brother.
Huh? How does she know that? What is she talking about? Hold up! Wait! What? No! How is this happening? Okay, calm down. Let's read some more.
It's not Snake.
Why on earth would you think that?
Because his left arm is.
She stopped herself.
I'm sorry. I really shouldn't be talking about his.
Junpei decided it was prudent not to press her for any more information. If she did not wish to tell him, she certainly had no reason for doing so. Perhaps more importantly, however, if Clover was so certain, then she was likely right. That meant that the body in the shower room wasn't Snake. It wasn't much, but that knowledge lifted some of the weight from Junpei's heart.
He's still alive. I'm so happy.
Tears shone in her eyes. Those tears melted Junpei's heart. As she cried, she had pushed herself up against his chest like a child. Junpei put his arms around her and held her tight.
Junpei, you were right. No matter what happens, you can never lose hope. You have to remember what's most important, and that's to have faith and to have love. If you can remember all of those, that'll bring you good luck.
Clover reached into her pocket and pulled something out. Let's go! The thing that we gave her! The clover! That's what I'm talking about! It was a laminated bookmark with a 4-leaf clover.
I only made it here because you gave me this. I was suspicious of everybody, and I was angry and miserable. But because I had this 4-leaf clover, because of what you said to me,
Junpei hadn't thought his words would have such an effect on her. Her words were making him feel a little awkward.
Thank you so much, Junpei.
She looked up at him. He scratched his nose and pretended to notice something interesting somewhere else in the room. If you really want to thank somebody, you should be thanking Santa.
Santa? Why?
Well, he was the one who gave me that thing. And the words for each leaf, I got that from him too. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah? Then suddenly, Clover broke away from Junpei. Huh? He looked confused. He hadn't thought she'd react that poorly. Clover began to pace across the room. 6 steps to the left, 6 steps to the right. Another 6 to the left, and then she stopped.
Did Santa really tell you those things?
Her eyes were serious, but not angry. Yeah, he did. Did I, say something wrong?
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, this could be really good news. I think.
You think?
Santa knew about the words in the clover. The only people who should know about that are the other subjects.
Subjects?
The other people who were in the experiment 9 years ago with my brother and me.
What? What? So wait, who else is the subject? Just Santa, her, and Snake?
But he's blind. And I was part of the Nevada test group. So neither of us would be able to recognize the faces of the people who were on this boat.
Whoa. Time out. Junpei held up his hands. He took a deep breath and let it out. Let's just calm down for a second, okay? Start from the top. Don't start with the end, and then jump to the middle. You gotta start at 1, and then move to 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on. If you don't tell me stuff in the right order, I'm never gonna be able to figure it out. Clover nodded.
Alright, let's start with this experiment. What happened on this boat 9 years ago? Do you know about morphogenic fields?
He did, and the realization sent chills down Junpei's spine.
Alright, how about this? Theory of the telepathic mechanism.
Junpei recounted what Lotus had told him earlier. Clover nodded.
Telepathy, huh? Well, that's not really it, but I suppose it's similar.
So they were testing telepathy on this ship?
Yeah, I guess so.
So what exactly did they have you guys do?
The same thing that we're doing now. Exactly the same thing.
What?
The nonary game. 9 people were put on this boat, and 9 others were put in the building in Nevada, and the game started.
Junpei grabbed the sides of his head. Look, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. What do the nonary game and some telepathy experiment have to do with each other? Clover bit her lip. She blinked back sudden tears. What had happened to her in Nevada?
The ability to access a morphogenic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. You know how sometimes when you're up against a really tough problem, and then the answer just kind of pops into your head? That's an epiphany. And what you learn from the epiphany can be transmitted with telepathy. When you add danger to that equation, then it gets easier to transmit that information over telepathy.
So you're saying the nonary game was supposed to introduce that element of danger?
Yeah, but it couldn't be just any old danger. It had to be life and death. And someone did actually die. A girl.
Junpei felt the sudden grip of despair on his heart. Something deep and distant and powerful squeezed, and for a moment he felt very, very empty and alone.
She was on the boat with my brother. I was in Nevada, so I never met her, but I did hear her name.
What?
Her name was,
The sudden sound of the door opening was like a gunshot. Junpei spun around.
Oh, my apologies. I seem to have disturbed you.
You again? God damn it, Snake! You're always ruining stuff!
Or Ace. Ace!
You two must have strong stomachs. I can't imagine how you could stay in this room for so long.
Ace glanced down at the floor. At the corpse, covered in blood.
At any rate, Junpei, would you be so kind as to come and help me with something? I'm having a lot of trouble. I could really use your assistance. Come on. It'll take a moment.
With that, he turned and walked back toward the communications office. Clover waited until he was out of sight, then spoke in a small, quiet voice.
I don't want Ace to hear us. We can talk about this later.
Huh? Hey, wait! Clover ignored him. From outside, Junpei could hear Ace calling.
Junpei, what are you doing in there? Hurry up!
Ah! Grumbling to himself, Junpei stomped off toward the communications office. What do you want? What the heck is he? Wait, this place looks cool.
A pair of headphones. I can't hear anything. Guess whatever they were connected to doesn't work anymore.
The cable that comes out of this thing is connected to the desk. What does that mean? Well, I'm opening drawers a lot in this game, so let's open. Let's look.
It looks as though the drawer is the only thing that's locked.
I don't see a keyhole, though.
An electric lock, perhaps? Take a look at the left side of the drawer.
Yeah, there's some cables over there. That must mean. Ah, there's something in here. Hey, what is this? It's blank. There's nothing written on it. Just a piece of paper? A white piece of paper. It's blank. Just to write stuff on? Like, what is it? This is a really long cable. The tip is hooked onto one of the desk drawers. There's nothing in the drawer anymore. Okay, we already got the headphones. I wanted to move back.
It's a telegraph key, a machine for transmitting Morse code. I tried setting an SOS earlier, but I doubt that did anything. Zero would never make it that easy.
So you think it's broken?
No, it works. I'm just not sure if it actually transmits anything outside of the ship.
Interesting. Hey, Ace, look. It's a monkey with glasses.
How on earth did you arrive at that conclusion? You're crazy, Junpei.
Wait, no, but it really looks like a monkey with glasses. Hey, Ace, look. It's a model of a steam train.
How on earth did you arrive at that conclusion?
I love Junpei. It's an old telegraph machine. Nothing suspicious here. What is this on the desk, though? A box. Small screwdrivers. Oh.
A set of small screwdrivers. Perhaps we could use them to dismantle some small devices.
And I have something we can do that with. Alright, this screwdriver ought to make short work of this music box. Oh, light work. We got a cylinder out of that.
It looks to be a cylinder for a music box. There are a number of pins and some pieces of metal that look rather like fans attached to it.
Sweet. Okay. What's in these drawers? What is this? Ink?
A bottle of ink. It's filled with ink.
Can we put the ink on the paper? No. Game's not that easy. There's nothing in the drawer anymore.
There's nothing in the drawer.
There's air.
How old are you? 9?
No, there's more than air. There's oxygen.
Are you stupid?
No, I'm just trying to look around this damn place.
Clock mounted on the wall. The hands aren't moving.
A little surprised that the time is wrong then.
I suppose. And there's nothing on the back.
What the hell, Ace? You brought me in here for what reason? Look.
A hook. That wasn't a joke.
I know, man. Shut up. Ace! Okay, this is our room. This is... What the heck is this? Wait. Okay, what does this door lead to?
Junpei, what are you doing? We searched the wheelhouse from top to bottom. There's no reason to go back. In fact, you think it'd be wise to investigate the captain's quarters? I think we ought to check both rooms, don't you?
I guess. I feel like I got everything that was in here, though, honestly. Combine this. We tried that. How about this? I guess I'll put the ink on the cylinder? Ah. Hey, Ace, look. There's a big-ass rat trap over here.
I told you, that's a telegraph key. It's a device that transmits messages through Morse code.
We're getting some big-ass rats with this thing. What if I combine these two? I always thought I combined the ink, but what if this in the ink? I just gotta roll the cylinder across a piece of paper. And if I'm right, the ink should... Oh!
This is as you suspected, right? Now you have a pattern of dots and lines on the paper. I imagine it's Morse code. These dots and lines are the dots and dashes of Morse code.
Well, I don't really know much about Morse code. Maybe we can go back to this. How does this thing work? All right, I've got the Morse code I'm supposed to enter. If I do this right, something will happen. I hope. All right, let's give this a shot. Oh, crap. How do you do this? Is it like... One, two, three. And then what? How does this thing work? Oh, reset. Bump, 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 bump. Do I have to just repeat what that's saying? That's what I'm doing right now, at least. Let's see if this works. Heard something. That sounds like a good noise. That's the last one. And yes. There it is.
Take me to the heavens.
I love that pose right there.
Excellent work, Junpei. Good job. You seem to have figured it out. You unlocked the drawer.
Not only did I lock the drawer, but I've made him praise me. He's praising me. Thank the Lord. God bless America. The hell is this? A red file lay in the drawer. Junpei reached down and picked it up. The cover read, All Ice, or Alice. All Ice, Alice. Did that mean Junpei couldn't hold back? He had to know what was in that file. The hell? Each page was covered with strange characters. They looked like tiny drawings of birds, snakes, insects, horned animals, wings, and even kneeling humans. There were many pages in the file, and each was full of those strange symbols. What the hell is this? He didn't realize he'd spoken out loud until Ace looked over at him.
They are hieroglyphics, a form of writing used in ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt?
That's right. Can you read them? Of course. I can't. What would make you think I could?
What the hell? Junpei flipped through a few more pages. Well, he acted like he could, like he knew what it was and all that. It wasn't just 1 or 2 pages that were covered in the strange symbols. Every single page was covered in them. Trying to read them was pointless. Junpei wasn't going to waste any more time with him. He made to close the file. And something fell out. He bent down and picked it up. Ah, another keycard. A keycard? There was a symbol on it that reminded Junpei of the symbols for the Saturn and Mercury keycards. This one, however, had a dot in the center of the male symbol.
Uranus. That's the Uranus symbol.
Junpei looked over to see Ace examining the card. In addition to the Uranus symbol, there were 3 words engraved on the card as well. On the lower right, it said, Bottom Deck Library. This must be a key to the library on the bottom deck.
So it would seem.
The bottom deck. The library. Junpei remembered something he'd heard from Seven when they'd been in the chemical closet.
Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the forest of knowledge, beneath the navel of the gigantic.
Did beneath the navel mean the bottom deck? Did forest of knowledge mean the library? If it did, then was Alice in a room somewhere beyond the library?
What's wrong?
Junpei blinked. Only then did he notice Ace looking at him, curiosity and concern written across his face in equal parts. There was no reason for Junpei to hide his thoughts. He began to explain his theory to Ace. Then he stopped. It wouldn't make any sense if Ace didn't know who Alice was supposed to be. So he told Ace everything June had told him. About the Egyptian priestess. About Ice 9. And finally about the woman who wouldn't melt, who had been recovered from the Titanic disaster. He told him how she had been called All Ice, which had eventually turned out to Alice. And how she had been purchased by an English millionaire who killed himself, Lord Gourdain.
And how Gourdain had hid Alice somewhere on the ship. And you think that he hid her in a small room beyond the library on the bottom deck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess so.
I see.
Ace stared off into the distance, his hand slowly and absent-mindedly stroking his beard. After a few moments, his hand stopped. He turned slowly to look at Junpei, and his brows drew together.
Junpei, have you heard of the term CAS?
CAS?
It stands for Cells Alive System. It's an advanced technology for freezing and preserving organic matter. But put simply, it's a technique that allows one to freeze things about the formation of ice crystals. Normally, if you freeze something fresh, water within its cells expands as it crystallizes, damaging the cell membrane. CAS, however, works differently. The object to be frozen is supercooled using magnetic fields and then frozen instantly and uniformly, giving ice crystals no time to form. It was originally developed for the preservation of food as an alternative to the normal freezing process. Now, however, the rumor is that it can be used for other things.
What do you mean by other things?
Well, there are obvious medical uses, but perhaps also space travel.
Space travel? Are you serious?
Surely you've heard of suspended animation, cryogenic freezing. It's a fairly common idea in science fiction books and films.
Like, have you ever seen Prometheus? Remember in Prometheus, all the, when they were jumping through hyperspeed or, like, trying to go to that planet, they were all coming out of, like, those cryogenic chambers? Because they were sleeping for so long.
People are sometimes frozen for especially lengthy journeys through space. That was when Junpei understood what Ace was suggesting. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute there. Ace looked at him and raised an eyebrow. Are you saying that Alice was frozen using that casting? Well, I'm sure the possibility is quite low, but it is a possibility. But this special ice you call Ice 9 does indeed exist. And if Cass were used to freeze her into that sort of ice instantaneously.
You think she could be alive?
Well, I can't say for sure, of course. I'm only talking about possibilities. The melting point for Ice 9 is 96 degrees, right? If she were put somewhere where she could reach that temperature.
That's nuts! Are you really saying she could have defrosted and started walking about?
You're quite right. It does sound unbelievable. But if she had, then we would have an explanation for the man we found dead on the floor.
You mean the guy dressed like a captain?
Yes.
He was dead when we found him. Clearly he was murdered. But if he was murdered, then by who?
Well, I'm talking in Junpei's voice right now. Couldn't have been one of us. That would be impossible. In order to enter the captain's quarters, one must first open door 1. That door that requires the earthquake prevented us from accessing door number 1. Who was it that opened that door?
Santa and Lotus?
Right. Clearly, the two of them could not have opened door 1, or any other door for that matter. Who else, then, could have done so?
Junpei thought for a second.
No.
Nobody. After Santa and Lotus had used the Earth Key, they turned back and met up with Junpei and June, who had just returned from EDEC. The 4 of them proceeded to return to the large hospital room to reunite with Ace, 7, and Clover. When Junpei and his team had gone into the shower room, Ace, 7, and Clover had been left in the large hospital room, but then they would have been unable to open door 1. Perhaps when Junpei and June had taken the elevator to door 2, then. No, that would have been impossible. They had been gone only 5 minutes. No human could have run to the captain's quarters, killed the man in there, and run back in 5 minutes.
It would be impossible for any of us to be in the murder. That being the case, who could have killed him? Wouldn't it make sense if his killer was someone who had been in the ship for some time? A person like that would know the ship well. They would know the locations of all hidden passages and secret doors. The numbered doors would mean nothing to someone like that. It would be a simple thing for them to enter the captain's quarters.
Then you're saying the killer was Alice? It was Junpei's turn to raise an eyebrow. Ace drew his thumb across his lips thoughtfully.
Well, this is all one possible theory.
What? All ice. Alice. Was Alice indeed somewhere on the ship with them? Junpei had only one clue. The keycard in his hand. It would, he hoped, grant him access to the Forest of Knowledge. But beyond that, what waited for him beyond the Forest of Knowledge? Whatever might be there, however, would have to wait. At the moment, there was nothing Junpei could do. He gripped the keycard tighter and shoved it deep into his pocket.
New material has been added to the file screen.
Hope will never die.